So, after finishing my no kills challenge for Grand Theft Auto 3, I was very curious to see how I'd get on with the next game in the franchise. Can you beat Grand Theft Auto Vice City without killing anyone? Let's find out. But first, here are the rules. Rule number 1, the player, that's me, must not kill anybody at all. Rule number 2, if you pause the game and go to the stats screen, you'll notice that the game keeps track of the number of people that the player has killed. For rule number 2, this stat must stay at 0. Now that brings me on to a sub-rule. The following 5 things do not make the stat increase. Killing someone by pushing their vehicle into the water, killing someone by pushing another vehicle into them, killing someone by running them over with a vehicle but bailing out before impact, killing someone by knocking them off their bike, and killing someone by parking a burning vehicle right beside them. However, even though none of those things make the stat increase, technically it is still the player who's doing the killing, and therefore I won't be doing any of those things. Rule number 3, don't kill myself. If I get killed by other people, that is acceptable, but doing things like this or this is not. Rule number 4, I don't need to complete any of the optional missions. I'll only complete the missions that advance the story. Specifically, these are the missions that I'll be completing, including the 5 assets of my choice. Rule number 5, major glitches should only be used if absolutely necessary, and that includes using replays and instapasses. And rule number 6, I must not use any cheats or mods, except widescreen fix and silent patch. As you probably guessed by now, I'll be playing the PC version. And now, without further ado, let's begin. We don't have to kill anybody until Back Alley Brawl, in which we have to kill the chef, Leo Teal. Before talking to him, I got myself a shotgun. Now, Leo refuses to leave the alley, but that's not a problem because all I have to do is get a wanted level on purpose, lure a cop into the alley, and trick that cop into serving the chef some nightstick. On my way to ammunition, an absolutely idiotic cheetah driver almost ruined everything. In the next mission, Jury Fury, we have to intimidate 2 jurors, but don't kill them. Aye aye, Captain. In Riot, I don't normally get the coveralls, but for this challenge I did get them because it makes things easier. It's possible to destroy the vans early by shooting them through the fence. I destroyed the one on the left because it's far enough away from everybody, unlike the other 2 vans. Now, if you don't have the coveralls when the riot starts, you'll get attacked by many workers, not just 4. So after starting the riot, I lured the 4 workers away before I went to destroy the vans. At this point, the only person you have to keep away from is the pistol guy. Luckily, some moron left the vans unlocked, so we can just drive them to one side, wait for the guard to move away, and then put Spand Express out of business with my trusty shotgun. By the way, I don't recommend entering the van area without starting the riot, because that will cause all of the guards to come after you. In Treacherous Swine, Gonzalez is a pain in the arse because he's a moving target, so I decided to get 2 stars and 2 cars. I put the cars just outside the entrance to block Gonzalez when he tries to escape. Then I tricked the cops into shooting those cars until one of them blew up. Hey, it's not my fault that the NPCs are too dumb to jump over obstacles. I did something similar in the next mission, Mall Shootout. I left some cars blocking the way out of the mall to make the courier get stuck, and then tricked the enemies into doing the honours. Don't bother trying to make the courier fall in the water, because the guidance chips are not waterproof. With regards to this challenge, Guardian Angels can kiss my ass. In this mission, we have to protect Diaz and Lance from waves of enemies. Most of them attack Diaz, but 2 of them attack Lance, And what makes things very frustrating is the fact that when Lance gets shot from behind, he's sometimes too fixated on trying to kill somebody else that he ends up dying in the process. As for Diaz, if both of his men and the Cubans get killed, he'll die quite quickly. Here's my solution. On my way to the deal, I got myself some brass knuckles. Before going up to the roof, I stole a car and used it to very carefully push Diaz towards the bottom of the stairs on the left. You have to be as careful as possible, because if you knock Diaz over, the mission fails. Then when the Cubans arrived, I pushed their car on top of Diaz and just left it there. Amazingly, this doesn't kill him. And in case you're wondering, no, I can't drive the cars because they're all locked. Now, the first enemy who attacks Lance is the driver of the first van. I quickly pushed this voodoo to the bottom of the stairs to block them, and I had to use my brass knuckles a couple of times to knock the guy down. Remember, this is a no kills challenge. There is a difference between killing and attacking. Now I tell you something, I got very lucky with this mission attempt, and it's simply because both of Diaz's men and both Cubans survived the initial attack. I was feeling confident at this point, so I decided to set Diaz free. This made the enemies behind the stairs wake up, but they didn't last long when they tried to screw with Diaz. Only 2 enemies left now, the ones who attack Lance, so it was time to clear a path for them. I had to be very careful not to go too far away from the deal at this point in the mission, otherwise it fails. And now, the money thief. After chasing him out of the back alleys, I grabbed a car and carefully knocked him off before taking his bike and luring him into the water. Unlike the guidance chips, Diaz's money is waterproof. The reason I chose this body of water right here is because it starts off shallow and gets gradually deeper, so that allowed me to carefully make my way into the water, grab the cash and get out. At one point the camera went all weird. Come on, this is Vice City, not GTA 2. Phew, mission passed. We don't have to kill anybody in the chase, and I managed to do the classic speedrun tactic involving driving the thief to his destination myself. After passing that mission, I had a cunning plan. If you jump into this part of the bridge on Prawn Island, you'll go right through it, which allows you to make your way to the mainland when the bridges are still closed. Here's my cunning plan. Get a helicopter and leave it in this spot on the roof where the thief spawns in the next mission. You'll find out why very soon. Now, I'm sure many people are wondering just how I'm supposed to pass Phnom Penh 86 because of the helicopter section. Well, believe it or not, there is a very simple way to avoid killing any of the gang members. When you gain control of Tommy in the helicopter, just look back and up at the sky. For some reason, doing this seems to prevent the gang members from killing you. Just wait long enough and Lance will eventually move on to the next area. Why this works, I've no idea, but hey, I'm not complaining.
Nope.
Now, when the thief spawns, if you left that helicopter in the right place on the roof, he will accidentally kill himself and his 2 friends by shooting that helicopter by mistake until it blows up. It's not my fault that the NPCs are too dumb to make their way around obstacles to shoot you properly. And the reason I got a Police Maverick and not a VCN Maverick is because the Police Maverick is longer, which gives you a better chance at survival. Once I was on foot, I quickly refilled my armour and then ran straight up to the roof to grab that money. Killing is not required in the next mission, the fastest boat. Just run straight past the guards, stand right beside the crane, and press the enter vehicle button to instantly get in the boat. Easy peasy. For the shooting section of supply and demand, we can do something very similar to what we did in Phnom Penh 86. Just look straight up at the sky and don't shoot. Just pretend it's that scene from the Raiders of the Lost Ark. However, I can confirm that this doesn't always work, so whether or not you make it back to the mansion alive is all up to the RNG. Thankfully, this only took me 2 tries. I was expecting a phone call from Kent Paul to unlock Death Row, and I soon realised that I hadn't done Sir Yes Sir yet. Whoops. In this mission, we have to steal a tank, which is one of the slowest vehicles in the game, and also the deadliest. And because of that combination, there's a 99% chance that the army vehicles will drive straight into the tank and blow themselves up, which the game blames the player for. To prevent that from happening, all you have to do is...
follow the damn train, CJ!
Wrong game, Big Smoke. As I was saying, all you have to do is pop the other vehicle's tyres. This will stop them from being able to keep up with you when you get in the tank. You really don't mind me popping your tyres, huh? Military intelligence my ass. After popping the tyres, park your vehicle in front of the tank, which makes somebody get out of the tank to drive your vehicle out of the way, allowing you to get in. Be very careful not to run anybody over when you're driving away from the convoy. All you have to do now is just pray that you don't hit any cop cars. I would suggest losing your wanted level at this point in the mission, but you can't, because your wanted level is locked. The only thing you can do is very quickly get out of the tank when you see a cop car approaching. Now can we do Death Row? Nope, not yet, because an Idaho turned up. That's a car which is wanted for export at Sunshine Autos, and that's one of the assets that I'll be completing later. You can't predict the vehicle spawns in this game, so at this point, I decided to buy Hyman Condo and store the Idaho there. On the way there, an Esperanto spawned, which is also wanted for export. Now can we do Death Row? Still not yet, because we have to get prepared first. Allow me to explain. The only 3 enemies who have to die in that mission are the ones who are guarding Lance at the building. My plan was trick those enemies into killing themselves by blowing up a nearby vehicle, and that vehicle was going to be a fire truck, because it's long and therefore its explosion will be larger. If I used a smaller vehicle, its explosion likely wouldn't kill all 3 enemies. Now we can start Death Row. Happy now? My getaway vehicle of choice was a helicopter. Leave it here in the northeast corner, because if you leave it anywhere else, it disappears. And now to trick those enemies into blowing up the fire truck. Again, it's not my fault that the NPCs are too dumb to make their way around obstacles to shoot me properly. My only real concern here was the guy behind me with the assault rifle, but my plan worked. After the cutscene, an enemy found his way inside the building, and I almost died. But luckily, both myself and Lance escaped alive. Just. Before beginning Rub Out, I got myself a bike and left it just up the road from Diaz's mansion. The bad news is that the bike disappeared when the mission began, but the good news is that another bike spawned.
Talking kick!
Lance will attack anyone who attacks you, so I made him kill the 2 enemies at the front door. Now, if you keep sprinting into the little black area to the left of the front door, you'll clip through the wall. This allows you to kill Diaz without triggering the boss fight with him. Lance will also attack anyone that you attack, so just punch Diaz and let Lance reap sweet revenge. Once he's dead, to pass the mission, you have to make your way to one of those corridors that takes you to the staircase at the back of the mansion. Success! Shakedown is another mission involving no killing at all. Just be very careful not to accidentally kill anybody when you're smashing the windows. Once Shakedown is passed, the asset properties become available for purchase. Outside the mall, I found a rancher, and I realised that I had enough money to buy Sunshine Autos, so that's where I took the rancher and got it exported. 1 down, 5 to go. I then made my way up north to get that Idaho from Hyman Condo, but one spawned on the road before I could get there. Murphy's Law. As I was approaching Sunshine Autos, I spotted a Landstalker, which is also wanted for export, so I took that instead, and then went back to my Idaho on foot, because the game only remembers the last 2 vehicles that you drove. With the Idaho exported, we were halfway done with the first asset. On my way up north again, I spotted another wanted vehicle, the Stallion. As I was trying to jack it, a gang war suddenly broke out right next to me. After that, I was finally able to pick up my Esperanto, but during the drive, disaster struck. Needless to say, I was extremely glad that there were no pedestrians nearby. At that point, I decided to make my way to Ocean Beach to do the Cone Crazy money trick. That was until another Esperanto showed up. Don't worry, I promise I didn't wreck this one. The Blista Compact was now the only car left to export. And now for the Cone Crazy money trick. All you have to do is keep beating your fastest time in the Cone Crazy side mission. Whenever you beat your fastest time, your reward is doubled. This is an excellent way to earn a huge amount of money right from the start of the game. The reason I did this is quite simply to allow me to buy the other asset properties more easily. On the PC version, I know it's possible to do some replay trickery to acquire the assets without spending money, but that's a major glitch. Remember, in this challenge, major glitches should only be used if absolutely necessary. Moving on to Bar Brawl.
Get in the car, useless.
Well, actually, Tommy, they're not that useless in this challenge because they'll attack anyone who attacks you. At the bar, you have to kill 2 guards, but only one of them attacks you when provoked. The other guy runs away. And the problem is, your teammates don't always attack anyone that you attack. Eventually, the guy stopped running, so I decided to see if I could trick a cop into killing him for me, like in Back Alley Brawl. But strangely, and I mean very strangely, punching a random pedestrian made my teammates kill the guard. Well, better late than never, I suppose. At DBP Security, every guard attacks you, so just let your teammates do the work for you. I had to be careful though because these guards are very accurate. Two enemies remaining. My original plan was let my teammates kill them at the beach, but instead they tried breathing underwater. So plan B, let the guards try breathing underwater too. Go on, don't let them feel left out. Once the mission was passed, Lady Luck was on my side because the final wanted vehicle showed up, and after exporting it, one asset was complete. In Copland, a quick way to get 2 stars is by getting a cop out of his car and then shooting him once. With 2 stars or higher, 2 cops are scripted to follow you into the garage. Now, at the North Point Mall, we have to plant a bomb in the Tarbrush Cafe, which is guarded by 2 soldiers. The bomb's explosion doesn't add any kills to the stat, but technically it is still the player who's responsible for their deaths, so what do? In case you're wondering, Lance's shotgun doesn't kill the soldiers, and provoking them doesn't make them move away from the cafe. Well, what do? I know. It just so happens that there is a car inside the mall in the northwest corner. All you have to do is very carefully use that car to push those soldiers away from the cafe and out of the bomb's blast radius.
Okay, timers are set. 5 seconds and ticking. 5 seconds! We got to get the hell out of here!
You learn something new every day, and that day I learned that if the soldiers survive the explosion, they'll shoot the cops instead of you. Now, to unlock the final 2 story missions, you have to complete Copland and 6 assets, one of which must be the Printworks. I've done Sunshine Autos already, so that means there are 5 assets remaining. The Pole Position Club, Boatyard, and Ice Cream Factory are all extremely easy because you don't have to kill anybody. Moving on to the 3 missions for Kaufman Cabs. After buying this place, it sounded like someone tried to do some kind of Michael Jackson impression. These missions are pretty straightforward. In VIP, you have to be very careful not to kill any pedestrians when you're trying to stop the taxi. Thankfully, you don't have to destroy the taxi to get the VIP out, just damage it enough until it stops. In Friendly Rivalry, you do have to destroy taxis, but you can do this without killing or even hurting the drivers, because you can jack the taxis, and if you do, the drivers run away. Cabmageddon is the only Kaufman Cabs mission in which you do have to kill somebody. We have to play a game of cat and mouse. The player is the mouse and is being chased by 6 cats. Normally I would just quickly drive to a safe place and then destroy the taxis, but we can't do that, remember? So I had to stay alive for 1 minute. Once the time is up, the cats stop chasing you, and then the tiger comes out to play. But I was able to lure him into the sparkling water. Just 1 asset to go, the Printworks. Spilling the beans doesn't involve spilling any blood. Just make sure you have enough health and armour, then run straight up to that pink marker on the ship. When the cutscene is over, just jump off the ship to get back down and make your escape. Don't be afraid to knock some of the guards down with your brass knuckles to make things easier. For Hit the Courier, my preferred strategy is to use a line runner to block the gap in the fence, which stops the courier from escaping. The mission fails if you destroy the courier's car before she arrives in the helicopter. Even if that didn't make the mission fail, destroying her car early would be risky anyway because there are some guards nearby. Once the courier's car was stuck, I went near the escort car to make the enemies get out, and I tricked them into shooting the courier's car until it was destroyed. After watching the fireworks, I quickly grabbed the plates and got the hell out of there. Just 2 missions left. For Cap the Collector, I decided to get creative. I got a stretch from Tommy's mansion, took it to the boatyard, and parked it here. Then I used a van to block the gap at the front. Now remember, the game only remembers the last 2 vehicles that you drove, so I had to head all the way back to the printworks on foot. Shortly after the mission began, the Mafia got to the boatyard, and... success. Just like in GTA 3, there are no such things as swimming lessons in this city.
What's going on?
On to the final mission, keep your friends close. At the start, I destroyed the limos outside. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that doing that will make less enemies spawn. Now the only 2 people who have to die in this mission are of course Lance Vance Dance and Sonny. Lance ends up on the roof, and what else can you find on the roof? That's right, a helicopter. All you have to do is dump that helicopter just in front of Lance, which will trick him and the Mafia into blowing it up. I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's not my fault that the NPCs are too dumb to make their way around obstacles to shoot you properly. One explosion isn't enough, so to make the helicopter respawn, I quite simply grabbed a car, drove a short distance away, and then came back. By the way, make sure nobody gets killed by the barrels blowing up, otherwise the game will think you were the one who caused their deaths. In the end, it took 3 explosions to finish off that backstabbing prick. After passing Cap the Collector, I took one of the Mafia's bikes and left it in my garage. In this mission, I took that bike inside the mansion because I wanted to try and make Sonny jump out of the way after his confrontation cutscene. But no such luck, so I used the Infernus instead. Bingo. Another accidental kill coming up. And after car explosion number 4, the Forellis were in need of a new dawn. Now let me just fast forward through the final cutscene and the credits until I've skipped them, and... So, can you beat GTA Vice City without killing anyone? The answer is yes.
Yes! Brilliant, bloody brilliant!
And that's the end of this video. I'll put the link to the full run in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and stay solid.